For years, the competition between Apple, Google, and Meta looked like it was happening in obvious places: smartphones, search, social media, apps. But in 2026, the real battle between these companies is shifting somewhere much deeper and much more important. It's happening in devices, not just the devices you already use, but the next generation of devices that could replace them. Because behind the scenes, Apple, Google, and Meta are all chasing the same goal: to control what comes after the smartphone. And that's where the hidden battle is unfolding. Right now, the smartphone is still the center of everything. It's how people access apps, communicate, shop, navigate, and interact with the digital world. And whoever controls the smartphone controls the gateway to users. Apple dominates with the iPhone ecosystem. Google controls Android and the services layered on top. Meta, for years, has been dependent on both, living inside their platforms. And that dependency has become a problem, because it limits control, limits data access, limits monetization. So Meta is trying to break out of that, and Apple and Google are trying to defend their position. That's the starting point of this battle. Now let's look at where it's going. The next wave of devices is already taking shape: smart glasses, AR and VR headsets, wearables powered by AI, voice-first assistants. These are not just new gadgets, they are potential replacements for the smartphone interface. And that's what makes them so important. Because if the interface changes, the power shifts. Apple's strategy is about control and integration. It's not rushing to flood the market with experimental devices. Instead, it's building a tightly integrated ecosystem: hardware, software, chips, services, all working together. When Apple releases a new device category, the goal is not just adoption, it's dominance. And it does that by controlling the entire experience, from the operating system to the hardware to the developer ecosystem. So if Apple succeeds in defining the next device, it extends its control into the next era. Google's approach is different. It's focused on distribution and intelligence. Android already runs on billions of devices. Google services are everywhere: search, maps, YouTube, cloud, AI. So instead of controlling the hardware tightly, Google focuses on being the layer that powers everything. Its bet is that no matter what device wins, its software and AI will be embedded inside it. So the battle for Google is not just about devices, it's about making sure its intelligence layer stays essential, no matter what form those devices take. Then there's Meta, and Meta is playing the most aggressive and risky game of all. Because unlike Apple and Google, Meta doesn't control a dominant hardware platform today, so it's trying to build one from scratch. VR headsets, AR glasses, wearable interfaces. Meta is betting that the next computing platform won't be a phone. It will be immersive, spatial, always connected.
And if that's true, Meta wants to own it. Because if it succeeds, it no longer depends on Apple or Google. It becomes the platform, and that's a massive shift. But here's where the hidden battle becomes clear. This isn't just about devices themselves. It's about who controls the interface between humans and technology. Right now, that interface is the smartphone screen. You tap, scroll, type. But what happens when that changes? When interfaces become voice-driven or gesture-based, or augmented reality overlays in your field of vision? The company that defines that interface defines how people interact with everything: apps, ads, services, content. And that's where the real power lies. There's also a data dimension to this. Devices are not just access points, they are data collection systems. They capture behavior, preferences, movement, interactions.
And the closer a device is to the user, physically and constantly, the more data it generates. Smart glasses, for example, could capture real-world context in ways smartphones never could. Voice assistants can capture intent in real time. Wearables can track behavior continuously. So the next generation of devices isn't just about convenience, it's about deeper data. And deeper data means better AI, better targeting, better control. Another layer of this battle is ecosystem lock-in. Apple has built one of the strongest ecosystems in tech. Devices that work seamlessly together, services that reinforce usage. Switching becomes difficult. Google has its own version of this through services and Android. Meta is trying to build one around immersive experiences and social platforms. Because once users are locked into an ecosystem, they don't just use one product, they use everything within that system. And that creates long-term advantage. What makes this battle even more intense is that it's happening before the winner is clear. No one knows exactly which device category will dominate. Will it be smart glasses, AR headsets, AI-powered wearables, or something entirely new? So all three companies are investing heavily, experimenting, building, testing, because missing this transition could be costly. If a company fails to establish itself in the next interface, it risks losing relevance, just like companies that missed the shift to smartphones in the past. And that's why this competition is so aggressive, even if it's not always visible, because what's at stake is not just market share, it's control of the next computing platform. So what we're seeing in 2026 is not just a device race, it's a platform war in disguise, a battle over what replaces the smartphone.